So, learning to play football is one of the most beautiful things in this world, and for many of us, it's a thing of the past. However, sometimes there are actually some quite important things that even experienced players get wrong, or maybe they had a coach who thought it to them wrong. And that's what we're going to take a look at today. 5 beginner mistakes that are easy to fix, but that you guys might still struggle with, as good as you may be. Let's go! Now, first up, we have one of the most important and essential things in football to get right: passing. However, it can still be quite difficult even for seasoned players to do a good pass. And also, what is actually a good pass? Now, when doing a short pass, you want to play the ball on the grass as much as possible and make sure that it doesn't bounce. And the most efficient way to do this is to get rid of the so-called micro bounce. Now, this micro bounce is when the ball makes this small bounce right after you make contact with it, and is one of the biggest reasons for a bad pass. However, it's actually quite easy to fix. We just need to look at the basics of passing. Now, first up, you should make sure your standing leg is pointed towards where you want the ball to go. It sounds simple, but not everyone is doing it. Your standing leg is what controls the direction of your pass. Now, second, you need to open up your hip and your knee to get a nice and clean strike on the ball. And finally, you need to not hit the ball too high and then do a small follow-through after passing the ball. And then when you master those 3 things, your pass should look something like this. The second beginner mistake is not moving after you've made a pass. In modern football, you need to move, both when on, but especially when off the ball. You should be the guy that your teammate can always pass the ball to, and to be that guy, you need to move. So get in the habit of moving every time after you've passed the ball. I know it might be difficult because you're just enjoying your beautiful pass without micro bounces, but it's important. So link up for a 1-2 or run deep to get a through ball, or just simply take attention away from your teammates. Another thing you can do is to fake a run, as this can be effective and get you in position for a pass. Just a small one in run direction and then come back to receive the pass. Whatever you do, you just have to move away from where you just were and into open space. And that's what separates a lot of the mediocre teams from the great teams. The great teams just move a lot more. So therefore, you should make sure you're in shape and have good stamina to be a good player, and so that you're able to move. And if you want a good exercise on how to get in shape, you can watch our How to Get in Football Shape video, where 7MLC shows you a couple of relevant drills. And number 3 is not using the third man. So the term playing on the third man should be a term that you are familiar with if you're an experienced player. However, if you don't know what it means, it's simply to involve a third man in your tiki-taka. Instead of just playing a 1-2, you pass to your teammate, who passes the ball to another player, who then in turn passes it back to you. Or basically, it can mean that you lay off the ball to your teammate so that he or she can pass it instead of you, because they have a better position or angle. So let's take a look at an example here. First, watch how Fabregas lays the ball off to Iniesta instead of trying to do a backheel pass for Messi. Now then watch when Messi started his run. He basically already starts running when Fabregas receives the ball. He knows that he will bounce the ball back to Iniesta, and then it will create space for Messi. And number 4 is not knowing how to dribble. Now, dribbling is the bread and butter of a good winger and is important for a football player in general. But knowing how and when to dribble is actually not as easy as it seems. So your running speed decides in most cases how you should dribble. If you're at full speed, you need to kick the ball in front of you and run towards it. Now, this is also very effective when beating a player on the wing. However, it can be difficult to get the right amount of speed when kicking the ball ahead of you. So therefore, if you're almost at full speed but still want to control the ball, you can do full speed dribbling. This is when you touch the ball on every step, and basically that's how Messi keeps control even when he's at high speed. But when you're in the midfield, you often dribble at a slightly slower pace. A player like Frenkie de Jong is a good example of this, because here you need to always keep the ball close and bend your knees a bit to keep a low center of gravity. Now, this will help you be a bit more versatile in terms of switching direction, and when you're in midfield, you sometimes need to do that very, very quickly. So go out and practice these different kinds of dribbling and try to apply the different ideas on which type of dribbling to use. And all of a sudden, you're just gonna do it automatically. And the last beginner mistake you should definitely avoid is to have loose, floppy feet when shooting. And when you start playing football, your feet won't be as used to kicking a ball, and therefore, it's gonna be pretty loose and kinda sloppy when you strike the ball. So if you want to shoot it with power and precision, you need to know how to lock your ankle. This is what will create the power when you're shooting, and it's pretty important if you want to score some goals. Now, to get good at this, obviously, you need to practice, and at first, you should practice close to the goal or against a wall. Just focus on locking your ankle and keeping the ball low, and don't strike it too hard. Now, when you've done this a bunch of times and it feels automatic, you can move back a bit and start applying more power to your shot. And finally, when you feel comfortable with that and really locking that ankle, then you can take the ball outside the box and practice an in-game-like situation. So go up, dribble around a cone, and then take a shot. Just make sure you practice different angles and of course with both feet, and basically you're going to be scoring tons of goals. Just remember to start out focusing on locking your ankle, then you apply the precision, and then you apply the power. So there you go, my friends, 5 beginner mistakes that are pretty easy to fix, at least with a little bit of practice. But are there other mistakes that a lot of beginners make? Well, let us know in the comment section right down below. Remember that if you need new football boots or new football gear, hit the link to Unisport on the side of your screen. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notifications on. And if you want to learn some new skills, hit the playlist that's also popping up on your screen right now. And with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.